Is this thing on? We're going to have to see if we remember how to talk about what happens in a video, luckily. Lots of stuff happens out at Starbase. Big equipment already installed on a skid for the air separation plant out there at the end of the road. I'm back, folks. I was on a little bit of a thing. I saw some people asking where I was. Had I abandoned NSF in the comments? No. Just working on another project in the other Great White North over in Norway. But I'm here to talk about the video. Big thanks to Marty for holding it down while I was gone. Of course, this is sort of a pre-assembled part of the air separation plant. Instead of doing it all out there on the beach, they build it in a better place that is not the beach, and then they go and install it on the beach so that the beach can tear it to pieces in like 6 months. We'll see how that goes. There, that full skid unit is installed in position, sort of in the right spot over there. Are we cutting it? Did the bolt holes not line up? That looks to me like the bolt holes didn't line up, and that dude's in there with a cutting torch making the bolt holes line up. We've all been there, haven't we? Is he cutting it off, or is he cutting the hole bigger? In the comments, let me know what y'all think. That's sketchy. Good grief. What is this, like Tweedledee and Tweedledum? Over on the air separation plant side. I wonder what the markings are for. Somebody's taken the label off. It's got the SpaceX sort of temporary blinds there. Interesting. Just more parts. Here we've got the Loadspreader being rigged to the crane. Of course, this is when you pick up something that is not crane-shaped, or I guess sling-shaped. It doesn't end up crushing it. It keeps the forces sort of going perpendicular to the sides of the thing that you are picking up instead of pulling it together. Now, here, I guess it's sort of integrated into that structure because you don't have the independent Loadspreader. You have to have the one across the top there. But then it is okay for it to have a little bit of, I guess, lateral force there on those parts because it's not going straight up, but then we have the Loadspreader at the top to make sure it's not pulling it in the other direction. It's like a probably Lego piece is the wrong thing to say because I don't really have any Legos that look like that when I was a kid. But it's all just sort of ready to go. All the plumbing is in the right spots and it's capped off and you just sort of install it and then you put the next part to it and you've already got all the lines sort of in the places where they can be connected up. That is actually really cool, like a modularized sort of thing. I do wonder, is this a standard air separation plant design that they have? And they're like, thup, 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 thup. They just make a bunch of them and then they can install them wherever? Or is that like a custom thing that just happened to be built off-site and then brought onto site? Anyways, I'm not surprised to see that the work is continuing over at Pad 1. That was happening before I left 2 weeks ago, and it is still happening. It is imperfect tense. It was happening in the past and it's continuing to happen right now. But you still see the huge excavators with the jaw claws on the front, ripping out pieces of concrete. There was a lot of rebar in there. There's digging out the holes a little bit. I do know that we started to see some drilling happen. Yes, perfect timing. I knew we started to see some drilling happening. I swear I didn't. That was not. I didn't time that or anything. I just said drilling and it appeared on the screen. This has been happening. I saw some comments on social media where somebody's like, "Oh wow, they've finally officially broken ground on Pad 1." And I'm like, dude, they broke ground on Pad 1 when they launched Flight 1. That's when the ground got broken. Thank you. Welcome back to the videos. In any event, of course, here they're continuing to prepare Pad 1 to put an actual flame trench in there instead of a fake flame trench in there. A little walk-by area. That's kind of a cool perspective. You see a ton of people in the public sort of over here looking around, especially around flight time when it becomes very festival-like. They've installed that little bollard chain cable thing so you know, like, hey, stay on that side of it. Every now and then they have some keep-out signs as well. But a cool perspective. This is some water tests. What's going on here? Is that a FireX test? It doesn't look like enough water to be a deluge. It's sort of coming down from the top of the, or not the top of the mount, sort of the internals of the mount. So maybe that is something about keeping the fire system. Oh, now that's a deluge test. Do you see the difference? Like you can scroll back and forth between the two. In the first one, the water was coming down from the inside of the box mount, right? And here the water's sort of coming up from the plates underneath it. So two totally different systems there, it looked like. What do we have here? A pad 2 perimeter wall construction. Big forms and a poured concrete blast wall. I wonder what this is to protect. Looks like a pretty beefy wall, but isn't the pad to the right-hand side of it here? I'd have to get some context and like back this out. Here you go. I mean, you can see the wall in the lower left-hand corner. There's bound to be infrastructure that's going to be on the far side in this view, I guess, that's being protected by that wall. It's interesting placement for a wall, but I guess with the new pad you have the actual flame trenches, the two ports sort of directing it away in the two specific directions there instead of it going all directions willy-nilly. A couple sunset shots here from Caesar. A little bit of a time-lapse of some Gigabay construction from Colleen. Excellent. Gigabay is continuing to rise up out of the ground. I don't know if y'all saw over on X, but one of our folks, Julia Bergeron, has been working with Colleen to do like side-by-side photos of the Gigabay at Starbase and the Gigabay at the Cape. Julia's stationed over at the Cape. Of course, Colleen's here at Starbase, and they've been taking similar sort of perspective photos and just seeing which one is ahead. It really did look like the Cape was a level ahead by the last time I saw those, but maybe I need to go back in and catch up on the most recent one. Hey, that's a person crawling around. There's two people crawling around. Huh. I wonder if you end up with bowed legs from walking on the beams like that. You gotta like bend your legs in to get on the inside of the beam on the bottom part. That's like a cap sort of thing they were putting on there, I guess. Cool sunset shot. Say that 10 times fast. That is just gonna be crazy whenever they get that thing all the way up. What? Is that for real? Is that like plastic plants? Are those real plants or plastic plants that they've put on the side there? Why do I feel like those are plastic plants? Just because it looks like they've already grown so much, right? Like they installed fake plastic plants on the side of the thing. I don't actually know if they're fake plastic or not. That's just what my first impression was. The consistency was too much. Got a couple of palm trees in and some work they're doing there in the background. Interesting. What is this? It's the nature segment here. Coyote sort of walking. Watch out, buddy. There's cars. You're smart enough to know. You don't run into the middle of the road, do you? A little skinny-looking coyote there running around Starbase. Looks like we're going to do a Nosecone parade, the Ship 40's Nosecone, through the fantastic picture windows that SpaceX has so wonderfully installed for us. You actually see those three marks on all of... See how some of the tiles have the marks, some of the tiles don't have the marks? I wonder if that's... Yep, thank you. We enhanced. It almost looks like a filler, right? You see how it almost looks like you took a grout tile to it and scraped it in some of those holes, like it's filling it off and scraping it off one side, like it's not completely cleanly done, like my bathroom tile. What is this? Nosecone COPVs? The first thing I think when I see that, it looks like they're going to try to attach those to a shark. I think you, like, try to put buoys on the shark to wear it out so it gets tired and then you can catch it. They're going to need a bigger boat, though. There's the static fire stand in the background there looking up Old Remedios Road here. Just sort of parked there in the background. Caesar's got an unidentified lens phenomenon there on the, what would that be, a ULP on the lens. Maybe it's a sensor phenomenon. I don't know. We'll have to tell him. There's the booster transport stand just behind the solar wall there over at the Sanchez site. Scooting some things around. That looks like a brace or a hitch or something. What do they just lay down there? Interesting. Ah, there's that construction continuing. We've been watching this for a while here. In fact, the construction equipment was actually interfering with a signal on one of our cameras, so we had to relocate the cameras. I don't know if y'all have seen on Starbase Live the nighttime shots of the factory, but this excavator here was directly in the line of sight for our point-to-point short-range hop back to our distribution site at the highway, there off Highway 4. And so we moved it to the other side because the John Deere excavator is not a great conduit for wireless signal. What, did somebody hit the sign? It's bent. Does it have holes in it? Did somebody shoot the sign? Certainly not. Out there at Starbase, you wouldn't think so at least. Looks like we're going to check in on Masseys briefly. There's that big tower, or I guess gantry structure on the left-hand side, right-hand side. We're going to start over here on the left with the B18.1 and 18.3 test tanks. You can see the crumpling there. That happened while I was out, that crumpling. I woke up one morning to, oh, Massey's test tank failure. And I know that in the Starbase update, Starship update video, we covered that. A lot of people thinking that was a test of failure. It sure was early in the testing for it to be an intentional test of failure. I mean, clearly it's a failure of some sort, but I'm not sold personally, speculation-wise, on that being an intentional test of failure. It looks to me more like a process-related failure or something, like the proper bracing or pressures or something like that weren't maintained. And I would be very surprised if that was an intentional test of failure right after they put that thing together, especially down on that end. But who knows? Only SpaceX will know, right? There's that gantry structure in the middle there. I guess first we're going to look at this, 18.3, removing the skirt from the top of it. Remember in a previous video, I had sort of speculated that they put that there to get a more accurate test, like all the forces are sort of the same. We've got the 39.1 test tank as well. There you can see those pressure relief valves in the center of the top. There's that gantry, the stairs on the side, that's hilarious, and a little bit of scafungus on it. But a lot of people talking about this truss structure potentially being to test connectivity for orbital refueling. I'm not sure I'm sold on that. I don't know. The forces involved here seem like they'd be a lot different than the forces involved in orbit. But potentially it's just about pumping things around, and it's less about the actual physical structure between two ships that happen to be docked in microgravity, and it's more about connection points, making sure things line up and that sort of thing. While you've got cryo temperatures in play, remember things might change a little bit of dimensionality. Dimensionality? I don't think that's a word. The dimensions of things change as the temperature changes, right? In any event, I guess we will see. I do think it makes sense to test out things like that, and it's probably related to some sort of connection points up there. So I think that's a pretty good guess right now. The road to Massey's there over is still under construction. That's been a thing for a while. Nice sunset shots from Caesar here. Excellent. Nice calm sunset to end the video with, I think. Anyways, folks, my name's John. You'll see me down in the comments as Das ask a question. I'll try to get back to you. Big thanks to Marty for holding it down while I was overseas, literally 300 miles north of the Arctic Circle. I was way up there in Norway and did not have a great opportunity every day to record these videos, but we still get them done for you. We'll see you in the next one. Thank you for watching, and see you nerds later.